Hi, John. This is Sarah, and my group members were Alexis, Martha, and Mercedes. So for a research project, we really wanted to focus on something that's prevalent for today's society. Obviously, we're all experiencing the pandemic right now and sheltering in place. So, we wanted to look at, okay, what is causing everybody to, stock up on toilet paper, to hoard food, to, fight in grocery stores and, act like it's like the end of the world apocalypse. So our research question that we decided on was, does media instill more panic during pandemics? This is for our Psych 25 class, and we are Las Positas College students, obviously. Okay. Introduction. During a global crisis, it's extremely normal for society to experience emotions such as anxiety, stress, worry, and fearfulness. Media coverage is vital to shared conversation and plays a large role in regulating and affecting our emotions, including fear, anxiety, and panic. I feel like most people I know, family, friends, neighbors, they all turn to media in order to, gain information about this global crisis. And sometimes the media can definitely portray things to be worse than they are, causing people to, hoard food, toilet paper, and water. So our research group really wanted to assess if media can have adverse effects on people's mental states, instilling more stress and anxiety towards global pandemics. Similar research conducted that we found, number one, attention to media and worry over becoming infected, the case of the swine flu of 2009. So their results concluded that people who followed media coverage on H1N1 reported feeling more worried about catching the illness than those who did not follow media coverage. Media instilled more fear in those who kept up with news reports, media coverage, and articles about H1N1. For number two, psychological predictors of anxiety in response to H1N1 pandemic, their results found that anxiety pertaining the swine flu was positively associated with anxiety, concerns about likelihood and severity of contamination, discuss sensitivity, and the tendency to carefully monitor one's internal bodily sensations. I know that for today, with COVID-19, everybody's taking their utmost precautions, wearing a mask, wearing gloves, using hand sanitizer, washing their hands 50 times a day. So to us, this really makes sense, seeing how people are reacting to media today. So for number three, media frames stages across health crisis, a crisis management approach to news coverage over flu pandemic. Their results found that depending on how media is portrayed, affects how people respond to the actual health crisis. So for our hypothesis, we hypothesized that the portrayal of media had a large role, in affecting how people react. So, causing anxiety. Let's see. Participants watching the anxiety instilling video would report more negative emotions and less positive emotions. We hypothesized our participants watching the non-anxiety provoking video would report having higher positive emotions and less negative emotions. We also hypothesized that anxiety provoking media instills more stress on people versus those who watched a less anxiety provoking media report. Okay, so for our participants all willingly volunteered to participate in our research study. Each one of us, which was 4 girls, presented the online survey link on multiple media platforms such as Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Through these platforms, we were able to gather 88 volunteers ranging from ages 16 to 51. Our mean age was 25. 5 participants actually failed to complete the online survey and were removed from our data collection. 31.8% of our participants were male, while 68.2% were female. We weren't really planning on, getting a specific group of people. We were just, trying to get any volunteer that we could to take our online survey. Like I said, we weren't looking for any specific demographics, so participants were ethnically diverse and identified as Hispanic, African American, Asian, Middle Eastern, etc. The largest percent of our participants were Latino, Hispanic, or Spanish, with a 68.8%. Our study followed the APA Code of Ethics through an informed consent that was given participants at the beginning of the study. They consented by clicking next. Since this was an online study, we couldn't get their signature, so the next took place of that signature of consent. So these are our tables for both our genders and our ethnicities. As you can see, a lot more females took our survey than males. We're not entirely sure why. The survey was presented online, so, we have no control over, who takes it. And for our ethnicities, majority of people taking our survey were actually Hispanic or Latino, followed by, Caucasians and Asians. And we're going to talk about the method of our study. So, like I said previously, we had 88 participants, and they were given a link. They were asked to click through 2 videos based on their birth date, odd or even. They were given either an anxiety-provoking video or a non-anxiety-provoking video, both of the news footages about Ebola. Our sampling procedure was randomly conducted based on the day the participants were born. This determined which specific video they were given. Again, anxiety-provoking versus non-anxiety-provoking video. Our participants were then asked to answer a set of questions on a Likert scale survey, 0 to 4. There were 30 questions regarding their emotions, and each survey contained the same amount of questions from the Perceived Stress Scale, PSS-10, and the State Trait Anxiety Inventory for Adults, STIA. The study was conducted in a correlational manner, and the dependent variable is based on the results of the PSS-10 and the STIA. The independent variables are the controlled and fear group of this study. On this slide, we put our videos that we had used. So our anxiety-provoking video is actually a video of when Ebola first struck. It is extremely disturbing to watch. There's a lot of sick children. And then our less anxiety-provoking video is actually a video of when they created the Ebola vaccine, and they were setting up vaccine stations, to help the people who were sick. Results were participants who watched the video based on their odd date of birth watched a stress instilled video, which was our fear group. They actually showed more panic, and our participants who watched a video based on an even date of birth watched a less anxiety instilling video, which is our control group. They showed less panic. Fear group demonstrated a higher negative emotion and a higher stress result expressed through the means shown on the screen. Our fear group reported a mean of 23.16, and our control group, which watched the less anxiety instilling video, showed a higher positive emotion than negative emotion in perceived stress scale, and their mean was 21. Results concluded that positive emotions are statistically significant, showing a t-test of 0.03. Our negative emotions are not statistically significant, showing a t-test of 0.16. PSS-10 is not statistically significant, showing a t-test of 1.37 and a p-value of 0.18. These results support our hypothesis that the way portrayal of media is expressed amongst the public in our study being the Ebola outbreak media coverage cause higher levels of anxiety, fear, and panic. As you can see, people who watched the anxiety-provoking videos showed a higher percentage of having negative emotions than positive emotions. Our negative emotions were at 16% and our positive emotions were at 3%. For the present study, we hypothesized that media and its portrayal of a pandemic is the main cause of instilling anxiety and fear onto the public. Our hypothesis was supported in that the results showed our fear group reported having higher negative emotions than our control group who watched the less anxiety-provoking video. It should be noted that the present study is limited in that it was a convenient sample conducted online and had limited accessibility to the public. Because of this, our sample size was much smaller than we initially intended. Did have some limitations of, who participated in our survey. When we went to go on Instagram to put the link, it was actually found that unless you have 10,000 followers on Instagram, you can't put it on your story to swipe up and take the survey, so we ended up having to put it in our bios on Instagram. Concluded that people should be extremely cautious in the way that media affects their emotional states. And we were actually really happy with the results of our conclusions. And this is our reference page. And we do hope that you enjoyed watching our presentation.